Okay, now we're back. This is part two. I just had to shift the arms around because they were in the wrong spot. And actually it is right. The right side is here and the left side is here. So when you assemble it onto the seat, it's 2 bolts, right side, left side. Now we're gonna put the back on the chair, I believe. Let's look at the instructions, and it says the next step is, yes, to put the top part onto the seat. So again, it's just wrapped in plastic, so all you have to do is just pick it up like this, take the plastic off of it like I did for the seat bottom. Right, and then you take it, well, you can use your handy dandy scissors, just be careful so you don't cut your leather, that would be bad. So cut it out there. So, and then you take this part, which is a little heavier than your seat back, or your seat, seat bottom, but not that much heavier. Okay, if it's too heavy for somebody who's older, just get some young guy to help you with it. Anyway, so here's your seat back. You can see the screws on the bottom, so you know that's the bottom. And they go into the sides of the armrests. So you kind of work your way down the chair, work the chair down to where it's going to go in there. And they said something about folding. You fold the chair forward and you screw in screw number C, which is part 5, which is the next two. It's just 2 screws, probably almost the same length and diameter as the other ones, and they've got yellow thread lock on them too. And this is part 5, screw number C again, I think. So you go through for the middle hole. You lay your seat down like this because it makes it easier on the seat back, and then you look for the middle hole, which is, let's see, I think it looks like it's the top hole of the 2 grouping, not the top 2, but the top hole of the 2nd grouping, which is right there. And you take that and you stick it through there, and you've got to try to figure out where it's going to go into your chair, which they say, well, it must be the bottom hole of the back. So if you look at your chair and you look at where the bottom hole is, it's pretty much right there on the bottom there. You gotta push it down a little bit to get to it. It's not going to be as easy. You got to probably line it up. So, and you got to use your Allen wrench. So I'm going to get down here and I'm going to look and see where that screw comes out. I'm going to push it, and then it comes out kind of, you got to find your hole, and your hole is on the top part. So it's going to take a little squeezing to get that lined up with that top bottom hole on the seat back. So you gotta find the hole first, which is right there. Then you're gonna have to squeeze it down to get it lined up, which is gonna be a little tough. I mean, but your armrests will move, so that's good. You just kind of line it up where your armrests will, you can pull them out. So you just line it up where the screw's coming out. You can see it, and then you have to line the screw up with the back of the bottom part of that seat back. So it's a little tough. It's not easy. So you might have to actually squeeze it down first to get it close, and then line it up that way. You might have to actually try to visualize it. So I'm getting down here and I'm going to look at it and try to get that hole, which is right there. Try to get that hole in the right spot, which is going to come forward a little bit. find the hole. Find the hole. That's what she said. Find the hole. Anyway, so okay, there's this thing. Now you just have to put the screw. Now you just have to put the screw in the right hole. So it's going to be the top one right there. So you go through and you got to line it up. I would just feel it. I would feel it out because you're going to be right there. You just have to kind of get it to where it's right. And it'll probably be easy to get going. Once you get it in the right spot, it's just going to go. So that, you know, this might be the hardest part of the assembly thus far. So just keep screwing on it, and eventually you're going to get it. Well, you're going to have to push it in there and try to get it in the right spot. So, and you're going to have to try to feel it with around the sides of it because it's not an easy little thing here. You got to get it lined up. Okay, I got it lined up. So you literally have to pull the armrest out to feel that little pedestal or that little screw. There's a little ring around, metal ring around where the screw actually goes in. You got to feel that, and once you feel that, you're in the right spot. And all you have to do is just, at that point, is to screw it in, and it should screw right in. I mean, you know, you might have to flip your Allen wrench around because one way is a little bit easier than the other. So you just go in there and you get it screwed in there. I think it's going in there. Hold on. Pretty sure it is because I lined it up right. So you just get it screwed in. Just eventually, if you just keep screwing, it'll find its way in there. It's just gotta. I would press down on the seat a little bit because that's kind of keys it in better. Just press down on the seat back a little bit, and then screw it in with the Allen wrench. And you'll eventually get it in. It's just gonna take a little time, but you'll get it in that hole. Yeah. So once you do that, I think you're basically, you know, then you got to put the other screws in the back of the seat and then put the little seat covers on the side of the armrest covers on the side. But it's really important to put pressure on the back of this seat back because that will keep your screw level so you can screw it in. So I highly recommend putting pressure on the seat back so that you can get it screwed in. Now, it might be a good idea not to screw it all the way in yet, so you might have some working room with the other side because you might have to finagle that around a little bit. I think I got it like in the hole now. I think I just have to get it to where I'm going to do the other side now. So I'm going to take the screw for the other side and do the same thing. You got to almost kind of like feel it. You got to feel there's four for this. There's two on each side, but with the first one you line up, there's two groups of holes on the top, then there's two groups of holes on the bottom. You're going to do the top one of the second group on the bottom, the top hole. So then again, you put your little screw through the hole and you're going to have to try to push that seat back down to where you can feel that hole, okay? And once you do that, it should be pretty easy to screw it in. Now you've got to pretty much get your fingers in there between that to feel that hole because it's not easy to feel. You've got to line it up right. And you've got to actually keep this, unless you have another Allen wrench, which might be more handy than this one, you've got to try to get the screw, keep putting pressure on the screw so it comes out of the back of the armrest. So you keep doing that. You got to make sure your screw has pressure on it so you can see the screw. So once you get the, that's a little technical. Once you get the Allen wrench in there, you've got to try to get this in the right spot, which again, really you're pretty much going to have to pry the armrest back so you can see it. So, and that's it's screwed in on the other side. Don't screw it in all the way because it'll make it easier to do this other side. I did the right side first if I'm sitting in the chair, and then I'm doing the left side now. And once you get the two screws, you flip it up and put the other screw in. So it's a little tough. It's not easy. You got to feel that screw. And there's not really an easy way to do this. You just got to feel the screw and push that sucker down and get it seated right. It's not easy. It's really not easy, folks. But I mean, you can do it. But you've got to get that screw shit. I mean, there it is right there. But you've got to get that in where that screw is. And it's not really going to be the easiest in the world. But you can do it. You just got to really pull that dang... You got to really pull that sucker back, that armrest. You got to pull it back. What you ought to do, maybe, if you can keep the Allen wrench, put your finger in there and push it out. Then take the armrest, pry it out, and then you can see the top of where that goes into the screw. But you're gonna have to put some pressure on it. Here's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna actually have to get up above the seat rest, and you're gonna have to press down on it while you're trying to locate the screw in the top. So what you have to do is you have to feel the screw, and then you've gotta put your finger or your thumb in there and keep that screw out. You've got to feel where that damn thing is, and then you've got to push it forward a little bit to get it lined up right. Holy crap. This sucks. So, yeah, get it lined up. And you can actually, you know what? I just found out the secret. These things are keyed on the armrest, so you don't have to even worry about putting the screw in yet. Just push there's a little metal cylinder that's on the seat back. All you got to do, a lot easier than I thought. But all you have to do is you have to put the little metal cylinder inside of the plastic on the armrest, and it lines it right up. Then when you do that, all you got to do is screw it in. It's not a big deal. That's easy. That's a lot easier than I thought it was. So, revise everything I said. Little metal cylinders on the seat backs. You just press them into the plastic, and it'll line it right up, and then you put your screws in. For the first two, raise the seat, put the other screws into the top, and then I think you put your little sides on the armrest, and you're done. So now that I've got the little cylinder there, it should pretty much screw right in. I mean, it should be that little seat the little Allen wrench bolt should screw right into the seat back. And then, like I said, you just raise it up and you line up the other one, and that's it. So again, you might not want to screw it all the way in. I think I got both of them screwed in a little ways, but not like crazy, you know. So then you take your, we're screwed in, but not all the way, so that we can pull it up. And then you take your other two screws, and there's some covers for, I think there's some screws, the little covers for the ones that don't go under the armrest covers. So now, here's the easy part. You're pretty much done. You just pull this up like this. It's on a hinge now. So all you have to do is basically line this upper one up, which is the bottom hole of the top two screws, the bottom hole of the top two screws, holes. So you just line that up, and I think probably you might even be able to do that same little key thing. Yeah, right there. Oh no, correction. It's the top hole. It's the top hole. The two screws holes at the top, it's the top one on the top, because that lines right up with it. So just again, kind of just screw it in, screw the little screwdriver bolt into the chair. Don't screw it in all the way. Just for now, just screw it in just a little bit. Just make sure it got a couple threads in there and makes contact. Then turn your screw. This is one of those old things that your dad teaches you when you're assembling shit, not to tighten all the screws yet, because there's always a little bit of a give one way or the other, and you can't always, if you tighten them all up, the screw holes are not going to line up right. That old thing your dad tells you about all this stuff. So that's the way you do it. Anyway, so again, top hole on this other side, and you should fit right into the other hole, and it should basically screw right into that. It should be lined up pretty close to where you can screw it right in on this other. See the top hole on the other side? You see? So top hole on the other side, and I think it feels like it's engaging, so it's not big. It was easy. Once you get the bottom two on, it's a piece of cake. And the bottom two are keyed, like I said, with that little thing. All you got to do basically is, the metal cylinder keys into the plastic, so it's really not that big of a deal. So, once you get all these tightened up, shoot, I mean, you should be good to go once you get this all tightened up. Just tighten your 4 screws up, and then put your little covers on, you know, the sides of it. The little plastic covers are kind of chintzy and cheap, but put those on there on the top of your little thingy. And then I think you've got some screw covers for wherever this plastic thing doesn't cover, down at the bottom where the base of the seat is. There's a couple of plastic things that kind of pop in there. And then you're done. And that's it, really, literally. It's that easy to assemble a leather chair on your own. Just order it from Staples or order it from wherever you're ordering it from. It's the McCallum leather bonded chair. I think it's around $200. It's definitely worth it because your synthetic leather one is going to cost you $20 less, and it's cheaper, a lot cheaper, and this will last a lot longer because it's a bonded leather and it's sewn. The seams are sewn. So that's the end of this video. If you liked it, just whatever. The whole purpose was to try to get some instructions and show people how to do it. Pretty easy to do. Bye, guys.